Welcome to Coffee with the Superintendent. We're here today with Superintendent Ellen Peterson, and we're going to answer some questions that parents and staff have submitted.
Good morning, everyone. We got quite the rainy Friday after a rainy week.
Yes.
We need it. That's good.
So anything you want to start us off with? Any good news?
Oh, gosh, we got lots of good news. I think we have had a really fun winter playoff season the last few weeks. We had the Livingston girls won a section championship in wrestling. The Golden Valley boys, I believe this is back to back, maybe three times. I'm not positive, but super strong program there. They won a section championship. And then our two surprises, both the El Capitan boys and the Atwater girls had a great section and NorCal run.
Yeah.
So super exciting. What was your take on that? You got to experience all that really for the first time because we haven't had a basketball run like that in my tenure.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to get a media pass. So I was right next to the basketball hoop, and I was just sitting there and just to see the whole action play off, seeing the crowd, seeing our staff and leadership support both teams was really exciting. I think just seeing the sportsmanship between our students and the way that we're talking to each other, supporting each other, the communication, like I got to see it firsthand. And I got to see also the pressure that our students are on the court, because you have a lot of people yelling at you from different sides, faces being made at you from the opposing team, on calls, shots being called by the referees.
Having to shoot that free throw with the nutty student section that's totally like, against you.
Miss. And I was like, what? So it was really exciting. But I think the takeaway was how our community came together just to support our students. And it's more than just a game. I think it just really uplifted the spirits, and the takeaway was just being there. I wish I could take that feeling that you get just watching our students play and broadcasting and getting that same feeling for others, community
for everyone. You want to bottle that spirit up and make sure every parent and every kid in our district gets it. So it was super fun. Just great to see the community support, and it's a memory. All of those kids, the Golden Valley wrestling, Livingston girls, along with our basketball teams, they're never going to forget that.
No,
it will forever be with them, and just really fun. So that's what I'm most thankful for and grateful for as we come to this session of Coffee with the Soup.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with actually a sports question. So a parent asked, why are parents being asked to pay so much to watch their child play a sport? The cost is now $9 a game. I have a student athlete that plays 16 league games, which will cost $144 for one parent to watch. If my husband and another child are able to make the game, that will be a total of $27 we have to pay per game. The cost of watching your child play is actual more than this when preseason games are taken into account. The parent also, I'm just going to summarize it, just talks about if there's any options like for a family pass, anything that we can do to help parents and families out to make sure that they're able to see their games, to make it more affordable.
So first of all, before I talk about this, and my answer is going to be brief, but this is why we do Coffee with the Soup, is so you can bring things like this to my attention, to our attention.
Yeah.
And then we can pass it on to the appropriate decision makers to look into it, because whoever wrote this is exactly right. And when I checked into it, we have campuses doing different things at their various sites. So some sites do a really good job with family passes. For example, Livingston, parents can use their ASB pass for their student pass that allows their parents to get in the game. Other sites have other processes. So what we're going to do here is at our AD's next meeting. It will
Okay.
be on the agenda to standardize this across the district, and make sure that family passes can be purchased at the beginning of the year at a much decreased price versus what was stated here. But again, this is how we solve problems. This is how we improve our district, and I appreciate you bringing this to my attention.
Okay. And then we have 2 student questions that were submitted. So it's related to school campus. Why do schools have to be? Why do the school have to be a closed campus for everyone but seniors?
Well, not all campuses are open campuses, number one. And for those that do, the policy on who can leave is really up to the site. We don't dictate all policies for all things from the district office. In fact, we do our best to not do that because sites have their individual needs and individual cultures. And on this issue, you have some sites that are right in the middle of town. And for example, Merced High, and businesses are historically dependent somewhat on students. And then you have other sites that aren't so close to town that aren't allowed to leave campus except maybe seniors or certain folks that are able to earn that right. So we leave it up to our sites to make that decision.
Okay. And then the following question is, can you ban vapes in the schools?
Well, per ed code, there should be no vapes, vape pens in schools. It is an insidious thing, though. It is very easy. We all know what's actually going on. And as we heard in our first quarter, we had a first quarter question about things that were going on in the bathroom.
Yes.
And we were able to improve those to where the individual that wrote that question actually let us know about a month or two later that it was much improved. So we just need to know, things need to be reported. If you don't want to talk to an adult and things are going on with vape pens, please use the tip line. Anyone can call from any site and anonymously report, and we will have administration or administration will handle it. And if you feel like at any time as a parent or a student that your administration isn't handling the issue, you are always welcome to call or email me or bring it up in a coffee with the soup.
Yeah. And then we're going to move on to a parent submitted a few questions about school transfers.
Okay.
So the first part is, will the district start cutting down on the amount of transfers that are being allowed by the district? Rumor had it that last year there was going to be no transfers. And then 1 week before school started, all of the transfers were approved by the lady in the district office.
Okay, so I'm going to, on some of these questions that are a little more technical, policy related, I'm going to read the answer so I get it right. Otherwise, my staff gets a little testy with me. But I also will give my general commentary on it after. So here it goes for that. School transfer requests are due to the district office by May 1st. Those are processed, and if there is room at the requested site, and that's the key thing, if there is room at the requested site, as well as a listed hardship, transfers are granted by the first week of June. The office creates a waiting list and processes the waiting list toward the end of summer if and when additional room becomes available at the requested site. So if you are a incoming 8th grader and you are in a situation that you believe you have a hardship or need to be at another school, you need to get that application in soon. And that will be processed in June. And then there's multiple steps to that I'm not going to get into this morning. But that is the standard answer.
Okay. And then the following question that the parent had is it creating academic and sports inequality amongst the schools?
I'm clarify that. Academic, what do you think they're meaning there?
I think
like
if because the amount of transfers that happen, does that create like an academic and sports inequality? Like, is a sports program or an academic program becoming better?
Yeah, no, I would have the opposite view of that. I think a rising tide lifts all boats. So if you have a strong program at one school, that brings up the programs at other schools. I mean, we've seen that across the board in aquatics. It's cyclical. You had El Capitan, who was very strong in aquatics a few years ago. Right now it's Merced, and in a couple years it may go back to El Capitan or Golden Valley. I mean, who knows? But it brings up the competition level when we have strong programs. It's not about bringing the strong programs down. It's about bringing the programs that need a little more support and improvement up.
Yeah.
So that's that. I'll give you another example. Atwater boys and girls have dominated the basketball leagues in the last 3, 4, 5 years. And this year it was multiple boys teams vying for the championship. Atwater did not win the championship. And on the girls' side, Atwater girls have dominated league for years, and they shared a co-championship with El Capitan this year. So we compete. We thank and encourage our strong programs for leading the way, and we want everyone else to do the best they can to make their schools strong across the board. Traditionally in the district, there have been some schools that are better at basketball, some schools that are better at aquatics, some schools that are better at football. We can look at that over a 10 or 20 year period, and that's the way it's going to be across the state. And certainly we have examples right here in our district.
Okay, the following question is some high schools are getting higher level academic courses cut because of decreased enrollment in the courses because higher level students feeding into the schools are transferring.
Okay, so school signups are based on or what we offer at a school is based on student signups. There has been a decrease in AP classes across the board. Not at one school more than another, across the board, because of access to Merced College. And that was done intentionally. We want our students to take a college class while they're in high school. It's in our vision. We're not shy about it. We have many teachers, students that make this choice between taking an AP class in our system and taking a college class, and many choose college because if you take the right college course, that course is going to transfer to any school. Well, AP courses don't transfer to all schools. Doesn't mean we don't want to have a strong AP program or encourage that. We want both, but because there is so much access at Merced College now, absolutely some of our AP enrollment has gone down.
And I think I had a student intern comment on that, saying why they chose that was because they got to actually experience the expectations at a college, and that helped her feel more comfortable going into a four-year university and having some of that experience.
Yeah, which is exactly why we do what we do. Students that experience college while in high school have a 25% higher success rate than the student that doesn't take the college course while in high school.
Okay. And then the last one is sports teams are becoming significantly stronger as a student transfers to schools with stronger teams. If one attends a sporting event, students know which opponents are supposed to be at their school, which would even the playing field. Both of these situations are also bringing morale down.
It kind of goes to my answer on the first one.
Yeah.
We have to be strong across the board. We don't have a choice. I've had this conversation with multiple parents. Well, why don't you just not allow kids to transfer? That's not an option. There legally has to be a process for hardship cases, and we have that process. In a given year, we might have 200 to 300 eighth grade students request a different school, and overall, the percentage of kids moving from one school to another is below 3%. So while in some cases, parents or students may feel like, different high profile cases and look at that, the overall numbers just don't bear that out, that there is a problem across the board. And I remind people that our paradigm is MUHSD.
Yes.
So we look at our district. If you go and look at other districts and the percentage of transfers, they are much higher.
Yes.
So can we always improve that process and make it more equal and more fair? Yes. But overall, relative to everything that goes on in our state, we do pretty well with that.
Okay. And then we have, there was a part 3 to that one. So academic expectation is low for students at their schools, and the district touts high graduation rates. How can the district feel confident and pride in graduating students with such poor academic subject competency?
Well, I would argue that with the premise of that question, because obviously they're looking at our CASP scores at the junior level. We need to remind everyone that we have 12 feeder schools and that we are a union high school district.
Yes.
So we're dealing with 12 different districts that send their 8th grade class to us. In a given year, between 10 and 20% may not graduate from the 8th grade in that district. Now, that doesn't mean they don't walk. They do, but they didn't meet the standard.
Got it.
That's generally how they operate. And then we take those students, and many of them, a lot of them are reading below grade level, and we have to deal with that. And public high school districts in the state of California and across our nation are required to educate all students, no matter the challenge, no matter the cost. So we spend an inordinate amount of money on getting students up to the highest levels we can. We have an entire initiative that started last year and will continue into future years with regard to depth of knowledge and talking about the rigor and how instruction is delivered in the class.
Yes.
And if anyone watched the board meeting this past Wednesday, they would have saw a presentation where those things are slowly increasing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that is not hard. It is. We came off a pandemic, and the decisions that our state made where you disrupt an entire system for 2 years. Experts say it's going to take 9 years to get everything back to normal, to where things were in 2019. And while that's not an excuse, it's also a reality. We are dealing with things in this district that we have not had to deal with before.
Yes.
And it is definitely taking longer to remedy various challenges for students. And I could not be prouder of our staff, our administrative teams at our sites, on the improvements that we have made especially the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're getting pretty close to where we were in 2019 right now. It's not going to take us, another 4 years to get there. So, yes, whoever wrote this question, we have challenges, and we do our very best to fill the gap of our most challenged students and push our high achieving students forward. And generally questions like this come from high achieving students. And it's another reason why we really push early college entry. So if your student needs to be more challenged, it's kind of like when you have a really good baseball player or really good softball player on your hands, and your high school team is your high school team, right? But you do the best you can with that group, and then in the off season they go to a higher performing regional team where they get the toughest competition and quality coaching. And you got to kind of look at it that way from an academic point of view.
That's a good
if we can't fill all the gaps, it's important for parents to take advantage of our relationships with our higher ed institutions in our area, both the UC and Merced College.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. Okay, so now we're going to move to facilities questions. The first one is, what is the plan for getting Golden Valley and Buhat Colony second gyms with adequate locker rooms and weight rooms?
Gosh, I think I wrote this question. Did I turn this question in?
I don't think you did.
I fully understand this, and in my opinion, it is next on the list. As everyone knows, we have a number of facility improvements going on around the district. Certainly the Golden Valley and Buhat Colony second gyms are high priority. And I'm not talking full on gyms. I'm talking like a large multi-purpose room with weight room and restrooms attached. I remind people that 10 years ago, when we built the Merced High School gym and the Atwater High School gym, that was a $10 million project each, so 20 total. If we did that same thing again now in this environment, it would be well over 40. So at least 100% more. And we're not talking about a full-on new gym. We just need more space for indoor activities. So I don't expect it to run at that cost, but people need to understand we can only do so much at one time. And there are some other facility questions coming up, and well, I'll let you answer. I'll let you ask the question. It kind of goes along with this one, though.
Okay. So we had, 15 questions about the Livingston High School pool. And one of the questions was, Why do all the other Merced Union High School District high schools get newer, better working sports facilities? I don't really understand how Livingston is one of the oldest high schools and still has the same facilities in 2025 that they had in the 1900s. These other campuses are getting multiple high quality, expensive projects done, like big pools and new gyms, while Livingston doesn't get anything.
Okay, so did you want to summarize all of those Livingston pool questions, or did you want to read each one?
No, in summary, the pool sucks and it's old.
Okay, so here's the answer that I almost expanded on the last question. So schools give us, the district office, recommendations about facilities and what they want, both the parents, the students, and staff. Those recommendations come to us. And the Livingston pool wasn't the highest thing on the list that came to us. It's on the list. It's on our 5-year facilities plan, but it wasn't the first thing. And speaking of Livingston, Livingston has beautiful fields, newer softball fields that were built 12 years ago or so. Brand new, refurbished stadium that was just completed last year. They're getting a new football field improvement this spring. They have one beautiful gym and one second gym. 2 of the schools in our district would love to be in that situation. Mm-hmm. I agree 100% that all of our facilities are not equal across the board, mm-hmm. but we are trying to get there. The Livingston pool had about a $500,000 or $600,000 facelift about 5 or 6 years ago, and so the surface, while old, it is still in usable condition. If we had $10 million laying around, I would love to come in with a bulldozer and push all the old out and build new like we did with Atwater and Merced. But those 2 pools were in far worse shape than Livingston is. So we will make Livingston work the best we can right now. It is on the list, and we do plan to make those improvements going forward. But again, that's driven by the site, and it needs to come to us as a top priority, one of the top priorities.
Okay. And then the following question is in regards to staff employment. So a parent asks, what current code of ethics and conduct is the Merced Union High School District committed to following to ensure that all of its current employees, prospective staff, and all people who work on school grounds are adequate to be around students? Thank you for your time.
Okay, so this is a policy response. So I'm going to read it. The Board of Trustees expects district employees to maintain the highest ethical standards, follow district policies and regulations, and abide by state and federal laws. Employee conduct should enhance the integrity of the district and advance the goals of the educational programs. Each employee should make a commitment to acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to fulfill his or her responsibilities and should focus on his or her contribution to the learning and achievement of district students. In addition, we do full background checks on all of our employees. Are all of our employees perfect? No. They make mistakes, and then we have to deal with the consequence of those mistakes, and we do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we have a student question in regards to, they had several questions for you. So they said, what is your stance on students being openly trans and or queer at school? Should they have the option to use restrooms and a name that makes them more comfortable while they're here? How do you ensure the schools become and stay a safe space for for said students?
That's a commitment every principal and leader in this district has. Principal or students come to us as they are, whatever the situation. Our job is to make sure that there are no barriers, there is no bullying, and if there is, that there is an adequate response to those things. So in conclusion, yes, all students should feel safe being who they are on our campus. Individual staff members, including myself and you, our opinions are irrelevant. There is a state process and law to all of this, and we follow that. And again, if you're uncomfortable talking to an adult about a situation you're dealing with, please use the tip line. And because we want every single student to feel that sense of safety when attending school on any of our campuses.
And then we have a fun question for you. A student asked, Dear Mr. Peterson, do you see the show Invincible? That show was hecka good. If you haven't, you should.
Well, I thank them for the advice, and the answer is no.
Okay.
I have not seen that show. Have you?
No, I have not. I have not heard it. I had to Google it. Yeah.
Okay. And what did you find?
It's an animation show. So it's about like a superhero.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate the advice, but that won't be at the top of my list. Sorry.
Okay. And then the last question we have for you is, as we're moving forward towards the spring, what is your message to parents and students?
Well, I think, when spring is just about to blossom, and sometimes kids can get a little squirrely. So I encourage parents to, especially this time of year, as the sun starts to come out and it starts to get a little bit more warm, that they review school expectations and rules and make sure they keep their student out of trouble. And sometimes you've got to be proactive about that.
Yeah.
And I encourage parents to do that, and of course keep up on their coursework. Senior parents hold different message. It's very important if you have a senior that's kind of a tweener, that's maybe not quite sure if they're going to graduate, that you're communicating with your student, you're communicating with the counselor, you're communicating with the administration. We have lots of remedies in place and lots of checks in place, but parents need to do their part and stay up on the communication with school staff regarding graduation. Senior parents, where they are pushing their students forward to Merced College or a UC or an out-of-state institution, that's a whole laundry list of we could do a whole session on that. But again, it's communicating with school staff, it's having your student communicate with the college of their choice to make sure they're very clear on the expectations and what they need to do to be prepared for August or September or whenever your university or college may start. So in general, good communication solves a lot of problems.
Okay. That's a good message and reminder. Well, thank you to everyone who submitted questions. We'll be doing another one before the school year ends. And I hope everybody stays dry today. Drive safe around town, and we'll see you next time.
For sure. Have a great spring. We'll see you in a couple months.